Episode 3: The Freshwater Crisis.
Water is imperative to survival for all plants and animals, from the single-celled organisms to the biggest on the planet, in every ocean and on every continent. Humans are no different. As seen in a previous video, clean freshwater is something we take for granted. It is estimated that almost 800 million people lack access to safe drinking water, and almost 2 billion don't have access to adequate sanitation, such as disposal of human waste, garbage collection, or wastewater treatment. This video will quickly look at freshwater issues on every continent. We'll start with Antarctica. While there are no native Antarctic populations living the dream in this polar desert with the penguins, there is a lot of ice here. Albedo is the ratio of light that is reflected by a surface. Ice and snow have a higher albedo than dirt or asphalt. The albedo rate in Antarctica, as well as anywhere where there is large amounts of ice and snow on our planet, helps to reflect the correct amount of sunlight and keeps our planet a habitable temperature. If a large portion of this ice were to melt from, let's say, climate change, we would face numerous global consequences, including a drastic change in sea level rise. Approximately 1 out of every 10 people in the world live in low-lying coastal areas and are in danger of this encroaching undrinkable water to severely impact their homes and drinking water supplies. Asia is the world's largest continent and has the highest human population with over 4.4 billion people and counting. This continent also has less fresh water than any other continent other than Antarctica. Most of the groundwater available is used for agriculture and is being depleted at an alarming rate. Climate change, bringing droughts, heat waves, extreme weather patterns, floods, etc. to the region can put even more stress on an already limited supply of fresh water. This means even more people will lack water to drink and the water necessary for their food. Australia, which as of January 14, 2020, had over 46 million acres burned via bushfires, is a continent that is susceptible for long periods of extremely dry and warm weather. Increased population growth and extended periods of low rainfall have been detrimental to their freshwater supplies. Some reports warn that dams in Sydney, their largest city and home to approximately 5 million people, could run out completely by May 2022. Africa, home of 1.1 billion people, also struggles with the problems facing citizens of Asia and Australia. Another issue is the access to proper sanitary conditions. It is reported that over 100 Africans die every hour due to waterborne diseases. It's estimated that 1 in 4 people still lack adequate sanitation in African countries today. A person living in an area with poor sanitation is also more likely to not go to school or get an education, which increases the poverty rates and continues to exacerbate the problem. Even continents such as Europe are facing water scarcity issues as well, as water demand is increasing and overexploitation of groundwater is becoming more common. This can lead to desertification, loss of wetlands, change in river flow, and saltwater intrusion in coastal aquifers. Pollution and deforestation are also impacting freshwater supplies around the world. Increases in urban populations, as seen in countries in South America, create more pollution. This also creates more sewage. If not collected and treated, this pollution reduces water availability as it ends up in rivers. It's estimated that 1/3 of Latin American and Caribbean water is polluted due to lack of sewage treatment. In Brazil, water quality is rated poor or terrible in almost half of the rivers, creeks, and lakes in that country. Deforestation also impacts freshwater availability, as forests are responsible for recharging groundwater. Freshwater scarcity is even an issue here in North America. We are not immune to the issues of increasing population and demand while facing the impacts of drought. Areas such as the southwestern United States are already dry climates and are in danger of experiencing shortages in fresh water supplies. We also have issues with aging infrastructure in major cities and small towns all across our continent, as made apparent in Flint, Michigan in 2014. As the human population nears 8 billion people, we see that water scarcity is driven by growing freshwater demand and overexploiting what we already have available. It's estimated that by 2025, 2/3 of the world's population may face water shortages. We need to be mindful of how fast we use this resource to ensure that it is given enough time to replenish. Increasing education and conservation efforts while improving irrigation and partnerships is imperative to ensure that we do not run out of this vital resource.